Rabbi Avraham Yeshaya Karelitz, who died in the year that I was born, 1953, also known as the Chazon Ish, one of the great Jewish leaders in Eretz Yisrael in the middle of the 20th century, he wrote that one of the mysteries of nature that we don't fully understand is that you can influence things with your thoughts. That simply with your mind, with your thoughts, you can influence things. And you could actually cause damage to other people or other things with your thoughts. Back in the 15th century, the Abarbanel, great Spanish philosopher and Bible commentator, he has a long discussion on the idea of AYIN HARA, the evil eye, and how it works. And he refers to Abu Hamid's treatise on the nature of human behavior. And the Abarbanel points out that we know that there is this mind-body relationship. And he says, for example, that strong emotions can produce real effects on the body. For example, if a person is consumed with violent rage, they'll have a raise in blood pressure. Their face will turn red. You actually see physical results of internal states. And he says that as a result of these internal states, negative poisonous energy, he refers to them as poisonous vapors, but I think what he means is energy. That poisonous and negative energy can emanate from within a person and cause harm to others. There are many stories, by the way, in the Talmud where great sages are offended by the way certain people, evil people, behave. And the Talmud says that the sage cast their gaze upon the person and they die. So the Abarbanel tries to say that this idea that we have power with our thoughts is certainly possible. Now, there was a great sage, his name was Baruch HaLevi Epstein. He lived from 1860 to 1941. He wrote a famous commentary to the Torah called the Torah Tamima, another famous work called Sefta Bracha. And he writes about an experiment that was done in St. Petersburg in 1881 by the Academy of Sciences. And he writes that there was a prisoner of the Tsar who was about to be sentenced to die. And he was locked up in a prison cell for 3 days, and he was starved, not given any food or drink. And they put in front of him, but right out of his reach, some delicious-looking food. Later, they tested the food, and they found that there were many deadly poisons contained in it. So apparently, whatever gaze this man was putting on this food that was aggravating him caused some change in the food itself. Now, I don't understand anything about quantum physics, but we've all read about something that's called the observer effect. That in quantum physics, one of the basic ideas is that the observer of a phenomena is able to actually affect what they're seeing through their observing of it. I can't understand how it works. Again, as the Chazon Ish said, this is something that's a principle of nature that we can't fully understand. It could be that scientists do understand it, but it seems that this idea of our thoughts themselves affecting reality may be possible. Now, the following may be considered by some junk science, so I don't know if it's been verified by peer-reviewed scientists, but there was a book that came out a few years ago that became a movie. I have the book, but I saw the movie. It's called What the Bleep Do We Know? And one of the people that was featured in this book and movie was a famous Japanese scientist, Dr. Masaru Emoto, who wrote a very well-known book called The Hidden Messages in Water. And what Dr. Emoto tried was an experiment where he took bottles of water and he put messages wrapped around the bottles of water. Some of the messages were very positive. They had like the words love and peace and smiles on the bottle. And other bottles of water had ugly messages and hateful messages. And what he claims to have observed is that when you look at the crystals of the molecules in these different bottles of waters, they're affected by the messages that are attached to them. So that the crystalline structures of the water that had positive messages were beautiful and symmetrical, and the water bottles that had negative, ugly messages had crystalline structures that were really all out of whack and totally asymmetrical, didn't look pretty at all. So one approach to AYIN HARA seems to be that when other people are jealous of what you have, they can somehow, through their jealousy, send negative vibrations that will affect you and or what you possess.